9 to 5 job or entrepreneurship? Pros and cons. Choosing a career path. The most important decision. Choosing a career path is the most difficult and important decision in your life. Choosing the wrong path will affect all other aspects of your life. The average person changes their career path almost 5 times during their life. So, if you feel stuck and a bit confused about which path to choose, you're not alone. In recent years, there have been many discussions on blogs and social media about whether having a job is better than being an entrepreneur. If you've thought about leaving your job and starting an entrepreneurial path, watch this video. If you still don't know which career path to take, watch this video too. You'll find the most valuable information to guide your decision. Let's start, okay? Before we begin, have you already subscribed? If not, you're missing out on a lot of extraordinary information. Advantages of being an entrepreneur. Let's start by examining the advantages of being an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is not an easy journey. It might be much harder than taking the traditional 9 to 5 path. Being an entrepreneur involves many sleepless nights, multiple failures, uncertainties, and it's only for the resilient. This path is quite risky, but with risk comes rewards. Successful entrepreneurs are always grappling with the risk versus reward aspect in every decision they make. Although it might be the hardest path to take, it comes with numerous advantages. Number 5. Working within your limits. As an entrepreneur, you are your own boss. You can make your own decisions, choose when you want to work, and you are only responsible to yourself. However, you need to manage yourself, create plans, and decide all the actions to take in your business. Unlike a work environment where you have to follow rules and regulations created by someone else. Number 4. Reward for efforts. It is said that the only way to truly be rewarded for your efforts is through entrepreneurship. It might not make sense, but let's delve deeper. See, when you're employed, you can only work a certain number of hours a day, and your salary at the end of the month will be the same. It doesn't matter if you worked harder than your colleagues, the salary is already set in stone. As an entrepreneur, the more effort you put in, the more rewards you get. The more you commit, the more profits from sales, the more your business grows, and the more you can take home. Number 3. Ability to increase income. It's easier to become richer as an entrepreneur than as an employee. Yes, you can become rich as an employee, but it will be much harder compared to those who take the entrepreneurial path. This is because your salary cannot multiply overnight, and as mentioned before, your earnings won't magically double because the company you work for is growing. However, as an entrepreneur, when your business is doing well, your net worth increases with it. Here's an interesting statistic. 72% of the rich built their wealth through their own entrepreneurial activities. Number 2. Self-fulfillment. Doesn't it feel good to build something and watch it grow? Watching your inventions grow brings unparalleled self-satisfaction. When you work, you're building someone else's dream, but when you run your own business, you're building something you created. Although it may present many challenges along the way, coming home every other day knowing that you're building something will keep you going. A survey was conducted, and the results indicated that 65% of entrepreneurs were satisfied with their career path, while only 15% of employees were satisfied with their jobs. Something to think about. Number 1. Job creation. When you start your own business, once the company grows, you'll need to hire staff. As an entrepreneur, you positively contribute to the economy by creating jobs. Why a 9 to 5 job might not be so bad. Number 1. Security. Most people believe that having a job gives you security. But is that really true? Let's look at what's happening in the world currently. Recently, the whole world was hit by the coronavirus pandemic, and it's estimated that about 20% or more people have lost their jobs. People working on minimum hourly wages are currently unemployed, so security is not a real advantage when it comes to unfavorable economic conditions. Number 2. Guaranteed salary. Yes, of course, at the end of every month, you'll be guaranteed a specific salary. But pretty soon, if you feel too comfortable, you become a slave to your salary. Most people live paycheck to paycheck and depend on their monthly earnings to survive. If they were to get laid off, it would be a tragedy. Number 3. Capital for business. The only reasonable advantage of working 9 to 5 is to gain capital for your business. This is the only reason we think you should go to work. Find a job just to give you money to save. Once you've saved enough, leave the job and pursue that dream you've always had. Otherwise, if you don't, you'll end up being a slave building someone else's dream. Is entrepreneurship right for you? Although entrepreneurship might be the most lucrative option, it's not for everyone. Here are 5 ways to know if you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur. The challenge of being an entrepreneur is not starting but staying in business. It has never been and never will be easy to start and run a successful business. The entire process is tough, but if you don't do it, you'll never truly know if you have a chance at success. Number 1. Ability to realize ideas. Paul Graham once said that Y Combinator never invests in ideas but in people. Execution is everything for entrepreneurs. Anyone can have the best ideas and all the money needed to finance them, but if they fail in execution, they don't have a business. Adding to this, you won't even need a new idea to turn it into a business. Dating has existed for years, but Tinder found a new way to help people find dates online and executed the idea successfully. Google wasn't the first search engine, but it executed the idea brilliantly. People have ideas all the time. There might be someone with the exact same idea you have right now. The only difference will be in execution. Ideas can be bought anywhere, but execution is what counts. So, while deciding if entrepreneurship is for you, ask yourself and be very honest in your answer: do I have what it takes to turn my ideas into complete entrepreneurial activities? Number 2. Risk-taking. It is said that in business, you can't avoid taking risks. Entrepreneurs find themselves facing risks all the time and often have to make the most critical decisions that will determine the future of their business. A characteristic that distinguishes all entrepreneurs is their ability to take risks. Let's look at Richard Branson, one of the richest men in the world. He is a self-made billionaire who had to take some of the biggest risks ever recorded in history. When he first founded Virgin Atlantic, no one believed his airline would be able to compete with British Airways, one of the world's leading airlines. He faced the challenge of either closing or persisting in what is now considered one of the most brutal commercial wars of all time. He continued to maintain his small market share despite the dirty tricks and sleazy tactics of British Airways. With a single corridor, he grew his company into a billion-dollar empire. Do you have the same ability to take risks? Are you willing to risk everything to see your business grow? Number 3. Ability to overcome failures. This might seem obvious, but it's not. The entrepreneurial journey will be full of surprises and disappointments. This is where your limits will be tested. For most people, being pushed to the brink leads to giving up, but for others, it's a way to fuel their motivation. You might be running your business smoothly, realizing all the profits you've always dreamed of, and then, boom, the coronavirus hits, and you're forced to close until the pandemic ends. Suppose you work in the manufacturing sector and decide to produce a ton of goods offshore, only to find out upon arrival that half of them are defective or damaged. This is exactly what happened to Greta Van Riel, the founder of Skinny Meat Tea. She decided to produce her goods in China, and when the containers arrived, the entire shipment was damaged. In one case, she lost millions of dollars worth of goods. What would you do if that happened to you? Would you be able to pick yourself up and continue pursuing your dreams? Or would you call it quits and look for another venture? These are the tough questions you need to ask yourself. Number 2. Willingness to learn. Successful entrepreneurs dedicate a lot of time to reading and personal improvement. The rules of success are constantly changing. What works for Yahoo might not work for Google. To be a great entrepreneur, you need to constantly learn, unlearn, and relearn new concepts all the time. You need to read books or listen to audiobooks constantly. And most importantly, listen more than you speak. Listen to what your employees have to say, pay attention to your customers' reviews, be open to hearing other people's ideas, because you might not always have the right solution for every problem. There is no shortcut to success unless you hit the jackpot, but for most of us, we need to adapt to being lifelong students. Warren Buffett spends 80% of his day reading. Richard Branson never went to college, but he has read more books than the average person. Are you willing to dedicate a large percentage of your time to learning? Number 1. Being a visionary. Those who succeed are those who dream big. To be a successful entrepreneur, you need to be a visionary, no exceptions. You need to visualize where you want your company to be in the coming years, and when you get there, don't be content and dream even bigger. To have a successful business, it is believed that the founder needs to delegate work so they can focus on the vision of the company. Without this, the company will have no direction or goals to achieve. Most startups fail due to a lack of direction. So, have you made your first sale? What will happen next? Are you the type of person who has vision boards? Do you make to-do lists and have goals to achieve on alternate days? Well, if so, then entrepreneurship might be the right choice for you. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. We hope you learned a couple of things that will help you decide whether to follow the traditional path or start a business. Whatever career path you choose, we wish you the best. We are interested in discovering your personal experience on the topic. Write it in the comments and feel free to ask any questions. We will be happy to interact. Feel free to leave a comment so that we can improve the content. Your like would be the cherry on top, and click subscribe to stay informed about upcoming publications.